Hello, everybody. This is Skip Elsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show, where we watch old 16mm films. And started a little bit late today because I'm actively trying to move more films from storage units to the film vault space that we've made. And so that requires a lot of logistics, which I'm not always good at. But we watch 16mm films here, so let's go ahead and watch some 16mm films. I don't know if we've shown this in the past, but this is such a great film. We've got a new scan of it. This is Practice Makes Perfect Drivers. Enjoy.
No matter what you do, practice makes perfect. To be really good at anything, you've got to practice. You've got to practice not your mistakes, but the right way. And knowing the right way means more than learning the rules. The experts are those who began by learning the rules and followed through with never-ending practice. You can do the same thing once you learn how the experts put rules into practice. In this respect, driving a golf ball is no different from driving an automobile. For the right way to drive a car can also be learned by practice. For example, there's a right way to apply your brakes going down a long, steep hill. Keep your left foot off the clutch pedal and use your brakes like this, so they won't get too hot and fail. And on steep hills, it's a good practice to shift to a lower gear. This saves your brakes by making your engine hold back harder. So there are two things you can practice to become a better driver. Fan your brakes and shift to a lower gear when necessary to make downhill driving simpler and safer. You can practice good driving uphill too. Take this situation for instance. That arm signal means danger, stay back. So take his word for it and stay back. Now he's signaling all clear, but see for yourself that the road is clear before you pull out into the left lane. As soon as you pass him, get back in your own lane. For keeping on the right side of the road, especially in hilly country, is plain common sense. It's common sense because danger you can't see may be rushing toward you just around the next curve. Whenever you can't see the way ahead, hold your speed down. Make it a practice to anticipate trouble by slowing down when you can't see. For unless you can see, you can't assume the way ahead is clear. When you hit a stretch of road like this, your natural inclination is to step on the brake. But bouncing wheels don't have much traction, and that might throw the car to one side. So slow down gradually while you keep a good firm grip on the steering wheel. When your wheels get into ruts made by other cars, slow way down. Then pull up out of the ruts with a tight grip on the steering wheel to keep it from twisting out of your hands. It's always good practice to drive slowly on bad roads. Good for your car and for yourself, because it's safe. Rain, snow, or sleet also call for a light foot on the accelerator. For in the first place, you can't see as well, and in the second place, you can't stop as quickly as you can on a dry road. On a dry road, you can stop quickest, of course. When you have to, you can step on your brakes and stop in a hurry. The black band represents the distance required to stop your car on a dry road. Now let's see what happens when the street is slick from rain or snow or ice. You're traveling at exactly the same speed as before. You have to put your brakes on at exactly the same point. But remember, now the street is slippery. You've done everything you could to stop your car, but it goes 4 to 6 times as far as on a dry road. Only by making it a practice to drive more slowly and more carefully in rain, snow, or sleet can you protect others and yourself. Water on the highway can be a serious driving hazard. To greatly reduce this hazard, slow way down before driving through it. It's almost impossible to tell in a hurry how deep the water really is, but it is possible to drive through relatively deep water if you take it easy. If necessary, shift to second so you can crawl through the water. When you get through the water, it's a good idea to try your brakes to make certain that they are operating properly. A couple of stops will usually dry them out. Water hazards often exist in unsuspected places on the highway. Wet leaves, for example, even on an otherwise dry pavement, can be as treacherous as glare ice. Skidding is dangerous, and you should know what to do about it. First, let's take a close look at what happens when a car goes into a skid. We'll watch it in slow motion. In a skid, the rear end of your car acts like it's trying to get ahead of the front end, like this. Something must be done to keep the car going straight forward, yet putting your brakes on just makes the skid worse. Let's start over again and see what to do. The instant you feel the rear end swinging, turn your front wheels in the direction the rear end is swinging. Turn them into the skid to get your car back under control. No matter which way you skid, always turn into the skid. But better yet, prevent skidding by taking curves more slowly. On snow, ice, or rain, tires have a tendency to slip instead of grip. You don't try to run on ice, you walk, and it's the same with your car. You will find that with practice, you can apply so little power your car will walk right out of slippery spots, and you'll be on your way in no time. Slip is not all that wheels may do unexpectedly. Even today's wonderfully sturdy tires are sometimes punctured, or occasionally, without warning, blow out. When a tire does blow, keep your foot off the brakes. The first thing to do is to keep the car under control by gripping the steering wheel firmly. Take your foot off the gas, and then apply the brakes gradually to bring the car to a stop. You can tell by the direction of the sound if it's a front or rear blowout, and this is important in determining how to control it. If it's a front wheel, the car will tend to swerve to the side of the blowout. So you must hold the steering wheel firmly against it. Get your car fully under control before trying to stop. And don't worry about the tire at this time. If it's a rear tire, the rear end of the car may tend to sway from side to side. The main thing to remember is to keep your car moving straight forward. Regain control first, then slow down and stop. Because he has practiced keeping his mind on his driving, the alert driver is ready for any emergency, whether it be the bark of a blowout or the snarl of a siren. If you hear a siren, pull over to the curb without crossing an intersection and stop. For a siren means that an official vehicle has the authority to use the space you are occupying. Keep your mind on your driving all the time. Dusk, for example, is an especially difficult time of the day to drive. Be on the alert for pedestrians, for hazards appear to blend with the gray twilight. Turn on your lights early so you won't be a hazard for others. But most important of all, slow down at sundown. At night, of course, the skillful driver continues to be on the alert. Make it a practice to dim down bright instrument lights to improve your night vision. And learn the right way to pass drivers who fail to depress their headlights. Signal the other driver with a quick flick of your headlights by pressing the foot switch a couple of times. And instead of looking at his headlights, shift your eyes to the right, to a spot we'll mark with an X, on the edge of the road ahead of the car. Now keep your eyes on the imaginary X, and you won't be blinded when a car passes. For your own safety, don't leave your own lights on the driving beam, even though the approaching car does. Switch your lights to the passing beam and cut your speed. Shift your eyes to the edge of the road. X marks the spot. As soon as the car passes, look ahead again, but give your eyes a few seconds to readjust themselves before you resume normal driving speed. It really pays to drive carefully at night, in the city or the country. And remember, Always use your passing beam when a car is coming toward you. Here's why. Your headlamps are designed to light the road far ahead of you with the high beam. But this beam will unavoidably shine right in the eyes of an approaching driver, and his high beam shines in your eyes. So cars are equipped with a passing beam. Always use it. As cars approach each other at the crest of a hill, even the passing beams are blinding, as you can see. So make it a practice to slow down as you approach an oncoming car at a hilltop. It's smart because it's safe. In fact, every practice of good driving is smart because it's safe. And all it takes to be a good driver is practice the right way.
Thank you, General Motors, for that helpful information. Yeah, it looks like I have a copy of this that I showed back in 2021. So it was a long time ago. That one, I think, is in better shape than what we had before. So there was a series of films made by, I think his name's Grantland Rice, who was a sports columnist, and then he started filming these sports highlight reels. And so this is a specific one called Crystal Champions. What do you think Crystal Champions is about? Enjoy.
Today, they have playing space in the air and playing fields on land. But at Silver Springs, Florida, they have a playground underwater that is one of the most sensational things in sport. This lake covers over 6 acres and is 80 feet deep in spots. The water is as clear as the air above. Swimming underwater is like a trip through a fairy wonderland of rare beauty. A paradise of flowers, gorgeous colored grass, shining sand. Now and then a turtle slides by, and then some friendly fishes. Following the leader on to the finish of the treasure hunt. Not as valuable as the famous Captain Kidd's chest, but much more interesting. Miss Naridius holds 15 women's world records. Watch her leg and arm action. Johnny holds all swimming speed records from 50 to 500 yards. Notice how much power he gets into his leg movement. One really needs a good outboard motor to keep up with Johnny. These two world champions give a perfect tandem demonstration of the crawl stroke. Downstream from the springs, through lagoons and grottos, after him underneath, and turn him over so he can't snap off your finger. This is something new in sport, but it's really worth trying. And what an easy way to get soup for dinner. Study their form. It shows how they became champions of the world. Helen does a perfect half twist. Does the graceful swan dive from the 60-foot tower to the bottom of the springs. Here's a corker, a 1.5 somersault. And now a perfect back dive. perfect back jackknife. Watch the human pinwheel. And this is not hard to look at. Here's a real nifty, a 1.5 full twist. And now they both go together.
That was weird. That looked like that somebody tacked on the end of a like a U.S. Army training film. I need to look at that again. That was really weird, but that was definitely Grantland Rice. We've seen other things, other sports oddity things that we've shown on here, part of the Mogul Brothers collection. This I think is a March of Time short. Although, do I want to show that? Like, what else do I got? Yeah, it's called, it says, Seeing Them Through. And I'm guessing that this might be a plea for war bonds. That's my guess. I haven't seen it, but here we go. Enjoy.
To the battlefronts of Europe, where for over 5 years history's greatest war has been raging, 1945 has brought harder and more terrible fighting than any that has gone before. Germany's Wehrmacht, though facing certain defeat, has resisted with desperate fanaticism, has forced American and Allied soldiers to pay the highest possible price in blood and destruction and death for every counterattack held off, for every foot of ground gained. Each step on the Allied road to victory has brought heavier losses, and thousands of American fighting men captured by the Germans have been condemned for the duration to the empty monotony, the physical and mental hardships of the prison camp. The bitter and costly battles of 1945 have placed obligations upon the American Red Cross greater than it has ever had to meet before. And so long as fighting continues anywhere, and even longer, so long as American soldiers are overseas, these obligations will continue to grow. In increasing numbers, Red Cross volunteers and Red Cross resources are needed to ease the hardships of those who are paying the price of victory, to help the doctors, nurses, and enlisted personnel of the Army and Navy medical forces, to provide for the wounded and dying the countless little services which make pain more endurable. Whatever the increasing demands upon its resources, the Red Cross must remain at the side of U.S. fighting men. For it is the mission of your Red Cross at all times to take the place of families and friends who cannot be there to help those they love. Wherever your armies move along an ever-shifting front, With them goes your Red Cross to bring to the soldiers some measure of cheer and relaxation. The harder the fighting, the more important it is that Red Cross workers be within reach of the front lines, ready at all times with the small comforts which seem so big to mud-caked soldiers who have been fighting without rest for days on end. Not only in Europe, but in the Pacific as well, 1945 is bringing battles of growing intensity as our naval, air, and amphibious forces approach the enemy's homeland. Victory over Japan is still far distant, and every mile of our advance toward Tokyo means more casualties, more hospitals to be staffed, more need for the assistance the Red Cross brings to medical units of the armed forces. Men who face the future handicapped by injured muscles or by the loss of an arm or leg must be given confidence in their ability to rise above their handicaps. Men whose nerves have been unable to stand the overwhelming pressure of combat must be restored to a normal and healthy condition. To aid in such tasks, Red Cross workers bring experience and kindly understanding. From now until the end of the war, hospital ships of the Army and the Navy will sail more and more frequently, bringing back those whose fighting days are over. On each of these, Red Cross workers will help to make the long voyage more comfortable. The Red Cross workers who greet them at the dock are part of an endless chain which links them to their hometowns and the local Red Cross chapters, which will stand ready to serve the veteran as long as his need shall continue. And to some 60,000 Americans in enemy prison camps, to whom homecoming is as yet only a distant hope, the Red Cross has shipped nearly 12 million parcels of food, clothing, and medical supplies in the past year. To these men, packages and mail sent through the International Red Cross are thus with home and family. One of the Red Cross's many contributions on the home front is its work of keeping anxious relatives in touch with war prisoners. At regular meetings, information is pooled to lessen the burdens of worry and uncertainty.
Tonight, several of our members have had letters from their boys. I'm sure you will all learn something from them. Mrs. Atwood, would you read yours first?
Dear Mom, we're in a new prison camp now. Not as cold and damp as the last one. The Red Cross packages are already reaching the new camp. The food and cigarettes and stuff are surely a lifesaver to us all. I don't know
But to the families of war prisoners, no knowledge is so comforting as the fact that Red Cross supply ships are sailing as often as possible with their merciful cargoes, some of which are getting through to Americans captured by the Japanese. In 4 years, the Red Cross has collected and turned over to the armed forces more than 10 million pints of blood plasma. Today, it is also supplying whole blood, which is flown daily to the combat zone. For in critical cases in which plasma alone would not have been adequate, whole blood has saved thousands of lives. Between those on the battlefront and those on the home front, blood donations form a tangible bond. And today, each package bears the name of a donor so that the recipient may express his thanks directly.
Dear Mr. Manelli, I don't know you and you don't know me, but I guess I owe you... No, cross that out. But I want to say thanks for the blood you gave to the Red Cross. Maybe it didn't mean much to you at the time you gave it, but it meant a lot to me. It meant I could get well and see my home again. my wife, and my folks. Is that enough? Think you'll understand?
As this most destructive of wars grows in violence, more urgent than ever will be the needs of the American fighting man. Your Red Cross must be kept at his side. Your Red Cross must be there to meet his needs, to give all help possible, to see him through the months ahead on the long and perilous road to victory.
So it wasn't war bonds, it was the Red Cross. That's great. So I often get accused of adding film damage to make films look old. That is, more than one person has commented saying, like, please stop adding scratches to the films. And I have to say, I'm not adding scratches to the films. Those actually are on the film. And so what we saw in this last film was a really interesting type of film damage. And somebody in the comments said maybe it was water damage. Water damage looks different than that, but it is definitely something fluid. So this is what I think happened. I think this is a processing error that for whatever reason, this film did not get properly cleaned or bathed when it was being processed. And because those dots are like white dots. And if it was water damage, what happens is you see the emulsion begin to kind of break up some, and then sometimes it'll come off and stick to the back of the film base that's next to it. And we're not seeing that in this. And and what's also really interesting is you'll see sometimes it follows, it like blobs up in like silhouettes of people or in like shadow, some sort of contrast area. And so I think that's because I've seen experimental filmmakers do that on purpose to make it look, it does kind of this weird solarization. And so I think that's what's happening there. So I did not add that. That is not an After Effects or iMovie filter. That is actual film damage. So, all right. This next film is weird. This is another Oregon archive film, and we were watching it as we were scanning it, and this is really fascinating. I think it's about underground structures. It's called Grass on the Roof, and there's a couple of questions I have about this film as we watch, and I'm sure there's certain scenes where like, what is going on in that scene? So here it is, Grass on the Roof. Enjoy.
According to the provisions of your aunt's will, all you have to do to inherit her house is live in it for a week and learn all about it.
Sure. That sounds easy.
You haven't seen the house?
No.
Ah. Well, then I consider it my duty to inform you that the house is, shall we say, somewhat unconventional.
It is? Well, I'll take it anyway.
I admire your courage. Bear in mind, though, that if you fail the instructional provision, this adorable cat of your aunt's will inherit it all. Needless to say, I wish you the best of luck, Mortimer. And there you will stay until lunchtime, you naughty creature.
Could you tell me if Emma Clark's house is around here?
Emma's place? You just passed it. It's down the road a piece. You can't miss it, buddy. Although you'll wish you had. It's built underground, you know. I've never been in the thing, but I wouldn't fool around with that mole hole. I wouldn't fool around with that mole hole.
Auntie, what kind of place did you live in? Nice grass roof. Grass on the roof. Grass on the roof! Bet the place is a dungeon inside. And Emma! How wonderful! I thought you were dead. But you aren't.
I'm afraid I am, dear, but call it cosmic retirement.
But what are you doing here?
Well, having a creme de menthe, what does it look like?
Ah, but it's great to see you, Auntie.
Oh, stop gawking, dear boy, and take off your coat. You look soaked.
You don't intend to haunt this place, do you?
I wouldn't haunt my favorite nephew now, would I?
I think it stopped raining.
No.
I'll just run out the car and get the camera.
It hasn't stopped. See, I told you.
What do you call this kind of house, Auntie?
Earth sheltered. That means you use good old Mother Earth to keep out the cold in winter and the heat in summer.
Look at those ceilings. How high are they?
14 feet. 2 feet higher than most conventional homes.
I like that skylight.
You should see it in the daytime, Mortimer. Close your eyes.
What?
Do as I say.
Okay, Auntie. How'd you do that?
Another advantage of cosmic retirement. Come, I'll show you around. We'll start with the kitchen first. Mortimer.
Look at that glass wall.
You are beneath good old Mother Earth right here. Does it feel like a mole hole?
How'd you know I was thinking about this place as a mole hole?
Oh, I know, sweetie pie. What do you think of my guest bedroom?
Aunt Emma, it's beautiful. This all must have cost you a bundle, Auntie.
Was I ever dumb with a buck, Mortimer?
I'm going to like this. No, Auntie, we never thought of you as dumb with $1. Fact is, we always thought of you as cheap. Prudent with your money.
You bet I was cheap and proud of it. This earth-sheltered house cost me about the same as a conventional house would have. I made sure of that before I started to build.
Lead on. I'd like to see the rest.
And this is my own cozy corner.
How sweet of you, Aunt Emma.
This is a master bedroom and study.
This certainly is beautiful inside. I can hardly wait to see the outside.
Well, close your eyes and I'll show you the outside, Mortimer.
I'm ready, Aunt Emma. Aunt Emma, it's beautiful. But why did you decide to build this underground house?
Earth-sheltered. Earth-sheltered.
Right.
Very simple. Comfort and economics.
Okay, I can see the comfort. What do you mean by economics?
I mean saving bucks, honey. You save them in the summer, like now. And then the winter heating season comes and you need even more heat. You see, 3/4 of your home energy bill goes to heating in the winter and cooling in the summer. But with Mother Earth taking care of you, you can cut those energy bills by 50 to 80%. Much of my heating can be done with a good, efficient wood stove.
How about air conditioning?
Don't need any. While Mother Earth helps keep the heat inside the house in winter, in the summer, she does just the opposite. She tends to draw the heat out. Some folks in very hot climates use a small heat pump to dehumidify an earth-sheltered home. But me, I don't need to mess around with that in here.
Where'd you learn all this stuff, Auntie?
Over at the U, something called the Underground Space Center. They can explain all the theories.
Mortimer Pitts to see Mr. Lane.
Yes, he's right here.
Hi.
Hi. I came to learn about earth-sheltered housing.
Well, I'd be glad to explain to you about earth-sheltered housing. Would you like to step back into my office? I've got a chalkboard. You see, the Earth, because of its great thermal mass, remains at a relatively constant temperature.
And what would that be?
Between 45 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, at about 20 feet below the surface, depending on what part of the country you're in.
But my aunt's house isn't that deep.
Even at a few feet below the ground surface, temperatures are far more moderate than the air above, and they are very slow to change. When you build your house into this ground, you can make use of this slow changing temperature. Now, Mr. Pitts, remember, heat transfer is the greatest where the temperature difference is the greatest.
Okay, but how does that work for me in winter?
You have this great thermal mass of stable temperature. Now, the outside air can fluctuate all over the place. It can be below zero, all the way up to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But the earth-sheltered house is only partially in contact with the fluctuating outside air. It is primarily sheltered by the moderate temperature of the Earth. which is further heated by the house itself. Now remember, I told you heat transfer is the greatest.
Where the temperature difference is greatest, yeah, I know.
Right. But your earth-sheltered house is not completely surrounded by cold air. Therefore, there is a small amount of wall and window area exposed to the cold air, and therefore a small amount of heat loss. It is primarily sheltered by the earth, which is only a few degrees cooler than the house itself. So the house's heat loss is less than it would be were it surrounded only by that chilly air.
And how does that work for me in summer?
Heat is coming into the house through windows and walls. Heat's being generated through cooking, people moving around, lights, that sort of thing. Now remember, the ground around the house is always cooler than the house. So the cooler ground draws the heat out of the house into itself, thereby giving you natural air conditioning. I'd like to show you a picture of the Andy Davis house in Armington, Illinois. He heats this house with a couple of cords of wood and a wood stove. At one point, the Davis family was snowed in by a blizzard for 4 full days with no wood to burn. According to Mr. Davis, they lost only 2 degrees a day. It was something like 25 degrees below zero outside, with a wind chill factor all the way down to -80. But in 4 full days without a fire, the temperature inside only slid down from 70 to 62 degrees. Not only does an earth-sheltered house protect you from the cold, but from the heat too. Brush fires do not affect an earth-sheltered home because the earth blanket effectively protects it from the flames. The same protection is true from hailstorms. Your home isn't exposed to damaging hail. Nor is there a danger from ice backup due to snow on your roof. The special drainage and waterproofing techniques prevent any seepage into your home. And you'll be able to relax a lot more about windstorms in the tornado season. As you know, anything above ground and exposed is threatened. That good earth above and around your home is a great protection from all the elements whenever they turn threatening. Well, so much for the principles behind earth-sheltered housing. We do have an excellent example of the commercial use of earth sheltering. I'll show it to you if you'd like.
I'm with you.
This building is about 83,000 square feet. 95% of that is earth covered. The lowest public level is 24 feet below this walkway. We'll go down there next.
Say, this is quite a bookstore.
Well, the students are having their exams right now. This place is usually quite a bit more crowded. As you can see, there's no trouble with light or space. I have a photograph. Mr. Pitts, I have a photograph here of another commercial use of earth sheltering. Set in an urban environment adjacent to a freeway is the TerraTech Control Data Building designed by Criteria. 2 steel arches are separated by an open entrance court, allowing all interior spaces to receive abundant sunlight. The inner court is a covered atrium and can be used year-round by the employees for lunches and breaks. In addition, the earth blanket effectively reduces the freeway noise. Well, there are lots of examples of earth-sheltered buildings, but this should give you a good idea.
Well, did you learn anything new, Mortimer?
Come down from there.
I beg your pardon?
No, not you. She's right up there. My Aunt Emma, who passed away, poor dear. And she's making a nuisance of herself.
Oh, I see. That's too bad. Well, I must be going.
No, wait. Please wait. Please let me explain.
Trouble with you, Mortimer, you have no sense of fun. Well, I was just having fun. Oh, what is cosmic retirement without fun?
Well, not at my expense, that's all. And speaking of cosmic, where'd you get these wild space-age building ideas in the first place?
They're as space-age as cave dwellers, nephew, because that's who first used earth-sheltered housing, cavemen. A long, long time before I ever thought of building my house, man figured out that good old Mother Earth is a fine shelter. This cave in Altamira, Spain, was bustling with people. including artists, as you can see, between 10,000 and 13,000 years ago. These are probably the world's first apartment houses, nephew, and they're earth-sheltered. They're in Cappadocia, Turkey, and some of them date back from the 3rd century A.D. And in our own American Southwest, man was living in earth-sheltered communities around 8,000 B.C. This one, however, in Arizona, dates from about 1000 A.D. And with European colonization of America, the settlers on the western plains built themselves sod houses. Using the earth to shelter you from the elements is no newfangled, untried idea.
What I want to know, Auntie, is how you build modern earth-sheltered housing. Are there a lot of special new techniques?
Not really. Let's see how one was built. This is a townhouse project, 12 units. Let's go back to the beginning of this construction, Mortimer. It went up something like this. How did you like that, Mortimer?
Wonderful, Auntie, but could you go back and explain the steps in the construction process?
Certainly. For this building, they dug down only about 4 feet. Then they built the structure and dumped earth over it. That's called berming.
Wait a minute. What about the construction? The floors, the walls, what are they made of?
The walls are concrete blocks. Floors and ceilings are precast concrete planks.
How about waterproofing it, Auntie?
I'm getting to that, Mortimer. In the old days, basements were for storage. People weren't too careful about waterproofing then. We now know just how to do it, and we are very careful. Here they're using sprayed-on bentonite, which is flexible enough to bridge the movement of the house so cracks won't let the water in. Oh, there are other systems of waterproofing available, of course. Then you put the insulation, as you can see, on the outside of the waterproofing layer.
And then you berm it, right?
Right. Inside, heating is forced air. But the backup heating system is forced air with the help of these active solar collector panels. Then the interior is finished like any other.
Nice and quiet in here.
Would you like to see some more earth-sheltered homes?
Would I? Let's go. The nice thing about these earth-sheltered places is they're so quiet.
Yes, you come home from a day at that dreadfully busy supermarket you manage, Mortimer, and you have a nice, calm place to enjoy.
Pitts.
Good, you're Emma's nephew. Please come in. I'll be happy to show you my house. We don't have much up here, but you'll be interested in what's down below.
Daylight? I mean, you can see outside. I didn't expect it to be so light.
My house here is lighter than my conventional home was in the cities. We face directly west and get a lot of afternoon sun and beautiful, beautiful sunsets. Derek, I want you to meet Mr. Pitts.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Pitt.
Pitts.
Oh, I'm sorry. Very sorry.
This is our only source of heat for our house. It's a wood-burning stove. It is lined with fire brick, so we could burn solid fuel if we wanted to. But last winter, we burned less than two full cords of wood at a cost of less than $100.
For the whole winter?
Yes, for the whole winter. This is our only source of heat for our whole winter here. The house stayed at about 75 degrees in this living area. Come on, honey, let's show Mr. Pitts the rest of the house. The family room and the kitchen are off here. Mr. Pitts, are you coming?
Do you have problems with dampness?
No, this is the driest house I've ever lived in.
The waterproofing process is bentonized, and that's very satisfactory. Also, notice the windows in each bedroom. Those are to code, as the rest of the house is built to building code.
How do you feel about living underground?
Well, actually, we've never noticed.
Oh, Mr. Pitts, may I offer you some tea and cookies?
Oh! No, we have to, that is, I have to be going.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pitts.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
From that exterior, you'd never guess there was so much down inside that home.
Want to see some different kinds of earth-sheltered housing?
Of course, Auntie. Let's go.
Would you believe it? This beautiful home is partially an experimental station.
It sure doesn't look it.
Old people live here all right, but these boys at the Underground Space Center are running tests on its energy performance. Now, what say we get into the warm weather for a while? This is an example of sheltered housing in warm climates. This place near Austin, Texas, saves 50% of its utility bill. It has solar heating. Another reason the Bordies who own this house built earth-sheltered is for protection from wind damage. 2 tornadoes have passed right through this property in recent years.
Which reminds me, Auntie, how about the building codes? Yes, and financing earth-sheltered homes.
The bureaucratic stuff, eh? Well, I know people who can tell you about that boring business.
Well, codes aren't really a problem for us. Housing codes are being met by builders all over the country. What really concerns the banking industry is resaleability of earth-sheltered housing. At first, we had serious doubts about that, but now attitudes seem to be changing, and we think resale potential is very good. As a matter of fact, both HUD and FHA are now underwriting housing and redevelopment loans all over the country. But why are you worried about that? I thought you inherited Emma's house free and clear.
Not if he doesn't do his homework, so to speak. Come on, Mortimer, let's go home.
Well, thank you very much for your help.
Well, nephew, you've learned enough to own this house. It's yours if you're interested.
Of course I am, Auntie. Of course I am. Oh, the kids. Come on, Shirley. Take care. Don't trip on the stairs. Watch out. Hi, sweetheart. Hi. Hi. How's my boy?
Where are we going to eat?
You're going to eat in a few minutes. What do you got?
Cat.
Where'd you get this? Careful now. New edition.
Oh, Mortimer, we couldn't wait to see the place.
Come on, I'll show you around.
Oh, Mortimer, it's so beautiful, so bright. Oh, good heavens, she'll fall off the roof.
Don't worry, we're part of the hillside.
Okay.
There's more surprises. Why don't you take a look around?
All right.
Well, nephew, the house will be well cared for, and so will my cat. So, it's time for me to leave.
So soon? Can't you stay a while longer?
In this bedlam? Are you joking? Besides, I have a lot of cosmic swinging to do. Take good care of Cleo for me. Oh, and give her plenty of liver pate. That's the only thing the lazy bum will eat.
Are the kids up on the roof again?
Yes. Well, let them play.
That was crazy. You know, and we've certainly seen this in the past. You have some dry information, which whoever made this was super interested in, but then realized that it was going to be boring if they showed it to the average person. So what can we do? Well, we can animate it. We can add songs to it. We can add puppets to it. Or we can make this kind of weird narrative. And so the ghost of a deceased aunt explains to her nephew about the value of underground homes. This is why we collect films, and this is why we show you films, is that somebody, well, looking at the credits, a lot of people thought this was a great idea. And the information is interesting, certainly, and I would love to find an underground space to house the archive, which is why it's kind of in a basement, but you know, it's kind of up against, like, some of the walls are, there's dirt against them, but it's not really a basement. But wow, that was nuts. So thanks for being there and watching it with us, because we were watching it, scanning it, and we don't get to hear the soundtrack. And we're like, what does that cat have to do with anything? Like, why is that guy running? Why is that woman a ghost? Like, all that stuff was just crazy. Well, thanks for joining us today. Kevin, thank you for donating. That's a great way to support us, is by going to using the super thanks button or using the super chat button in the YouTube comments. But you can also support us by going to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us, because we have storage units that we're slowly trying to empty out. And that's where I'm going to go after the show, is going to one of the storage units with Ayana. We're going to schlep some milk crates and put some films in there. But you can also support us by just watching and contributing comments, thumbs ups, subscribing, sharing this with friends. Those are great ways to also help us out. So it's great seeing everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's great. Everybody take care. Bye.